Do you believe in share after sunny? Hello again. So it's Tuesday on my end, should be Thursday on your end. This is a video I meant to do today, and then I got distracted by the Oscar nominations and decided to do that first. But I've been noticing online, of course, the bad part of the internet is it's given the crazies a place to congregate. And you see a lot of, as far as I'm concerned, crazy ideas out there. Hey, can you spell sovereign citizen, kiddies? So, I was thinking I was going to do a little video. There was like 3 or 4 things I wanted to mention, and I thought I'd write them down so I wouldn't forget one, as I tend to do, and I ended up writing down more than 3 or 4. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to read through this list that I just did off the top of my head, and then I'll go back and maybe talk a little more about a couple of them. But these are things I believe. The earth is round. Climate change is real. Vaccines work. Science makes mistakes, but it's the best info we have available at the time. The moon landing happened. You have to pay taxes. You need a driver's license. School shootings were not done by crisis actors. January 6th wasn't a bunch of misguided tourists. There are no litter boxes in classrooms. Unless the class happens to, they have a class kitten or something. Gay people are born that way. And when I say gay, I of course include the whole LGBTQ, LMSYZ. Biden didn't steal the election. There's no vast Illuminati conspiracy. And 9/11 wasn't a false flag. So let's just go back and see if there's... Yeah, right off. The earth is round. I'm kind of hoping anybody who watches this agrees. A few years ago, when I first saw things about like the Flat Earth Society, I really thought that a bunch of people had like created it kind of tongue-in-cheek, just a little joke thing, everybody was in on it. Hey, the earth is flat, ha 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 ha, kind of like people who believe that 70-year-old actresses don't have any wrinkles. But yeah, the earth is round. See, the first few of these are all sort of science related. I do believe climate change is happening. I do believe vaccines work. And I do not believe, I saw someone on a discussion group last night. He said, you realize the vaccines have killed 90 million Americans. Now, seriously? I think our latest population was like 330 million? Do you think if 90 million people had died over the last couple of years from, a new cause, let's say, because, there's millions of people who die every year from car accidents, heart attacks, murder, whatever. But if there was all of a sudden another big chunk of almost 100 million people that nobody would notice. And I should have marked in there. I also see these people talk about the plandemic, and I fear there might be people watching who do believe this stuff, that the whole pandemic was planned by the government as a way to control us somehow. Because they wanted to make us wear a mask in a store. Oh my God, all my freedoms are being taken away. I mean, that stuff is just nuts. I do not believe the government was behind it. I don't even believe the Chinese government was behind it, because I think they're smart enough that they would have come up with a virus that wouldn't affect their own people. Now, I do believe that it might very well have accidentally come from a Chinese research facility. I don't know. And while we're on and I said about science isn't perfect. I agree. People always like to go back and point at things and say, oh, well, science said this, and then we found out they were wrong. They predicted 5 billion people were going to die from the virus, and it only killed, 4 billion or whatever ridiculous thing they say. But yeah, sometimes science is wrong. Sometimes in a case like that, when they predict the pandemic is going to be bad, the reason it turns out not so bad is because the scientists did something about it. And people did wear masks and wash their hands more and things like that, and got a vaccination. And I tell you, there's a lot of people out there who lost people to the virus who will argue about the fact that it never existed in the first place. It's no different than the flu. Yeah, right. There's the moon landing. I do believe Neil Armstrong took one small step for man and one giant leap for mankind. And these people now who are saying, well, how did the camera get there before him? I'm not even going to go into it, because it's just ridiculous. Sometimes the people who come up with these things, you think they're intelligent people until they start doing their reasoning on some of this stuff. But yes, I believe all the moon landings happened. And so I think that sort of takes care of the science section of our video. There's I wrote down here as I was thinking about these things, I always love this comment. Well, I did my own research. Okay. So some kid is interested in science at a young age. He's 10 years old or whatever. And his mom gets him a chemistry set. And he grows up experimenting with things like that and reading everything he can. And he goes to college and studies chemistry, biochemistry, whatever. And he gets a master's degree. He gets a doctor's degree in biochemistry. He might, on top of that, get an MD. And he tells you that you'll be healthier if you bathe 5 times a week. And now you are going to dispute that because you did your own research, because you went online and went to crazyideas.com and saw a guy that said, it's not good to bathe often. The most you should bathe is once every 3 months, because otherwise you're washing away your natural protection. And I know that sounds ridiculous. I'm being a little hyperbolic, because that's the same way with someone arguing about vaccines and stuff. I did my own research. You did not do any research. You just looked on the internet until you found people that were saying things that you want to believe. The little kid who grew up with the chemistry set and went off and spent 20 years in college, and then he did another 15 years in the laboratory studying the thing. That's research. And I'm going to listen to him before, well, it reminds me, I know I've said it before. I don't know if I've said it here or not. Hey, I always like the line somebody said one time about, oh God, I just forgot her name, Jenny McCarthy. And the guy said, why should I take vaccine advice from a former Playboy model who married the wrong Wahlberg? Hey, I just realized I'm not wearing my microphone, but I think this usually sounds pretty good. Okay, on to other stuff. You have to pay taxes. I know there's all those people out there that say the income tax is unconstitutional, or you can get away without paying property taxes, or whatever it is. Because there's people out there who will, they're just like people who go into the Bible and will cherry pick things and use them out of context to say this is what God wants. I know what God wants, you know. They'll do the same thing with the Constitution and that, or they'll talk about English common law and all this, and they'll say, you know, it's illegal if we, you know, my thing is, like as far as the income tax, first of all, I don't believe it's illegal. But on the other hand, I think I do not care, because first of all, you know, you'll say, oh, it's easy for you to say you're retired, you don't pay income tax. But I did. I paid income tax for many years, and I don't really mind paying taxes as long as they're reasonable, because I want good public schools so we don't grow up with stupid people who believe things like the earth is flat. I want, you know, good highways and all the other stuff that comes along with it, you know, the things you pay taxes for. So, but the other thing is too, even if I didn't care about those things, I don't want the IRS coming after me. So it doesn't matter if it's legal or not. Okay. And then, I don't know if you've all seen these people or not, these sovereign citizens who say you do not need a driver's license unless you're a commercial driver, because you have the right to travel. See, driving is when you are working commercially. Traveling is going from place to place. And I'll tell you, just look up sovereign citizen on YouTube, and you'll find all kinds of videos of either people trying to convince you that you should be a sovereign citizen, or people that are in court because they got pulled over for putting their own license plate on a car. And by their own, I mean like something they make out of cardboard that says, you know, like, free citizen of Earth. I've given up my American citizenship, so I do not need to follow your rules, or all kind of, they talk about, you know, this isn't my real name, it's my name, I don't know. Anyway, you can go and look that up for yourself, but they don't believe you need a driver's license and who knows what else. Okay, this one, the school shootings, they happened, you know, and it is so disgusting that these people will use that for politics and say that, oh, it never, it's, the people I mean. Because what they like to say is, oh, that's the liberals made that all up because they want to take our guns away. And this is how they go after our guns, by saying that kids were killed. Do you know how disrespectful that is to grieving parents? To go on national TV and tell them that they didn't actually lose a child, that they are just actors who are pawns for the evil Democrats. People should be, and a lot of them that say it. I don't want to start, I don't want to name Fox News, but I will. Not to mention the crazier versions of that now. But you'll get those people that they actually know better. They know that the shootings happened, but they also know that they can get ratings because there's enough stupid people out there that if they say this other crap, they'll believe it. And politicians, there's politicians, the same thing. They know better, but they'll say what they think is going to appeal to the people. It's going to give them votes, and more importantly, the people that are going to give them money. So yes, the school shootings happened. January 6th wasn't just a bunch of tourists. They were in there looking to kill Pence and destroy the place. They would have killed any Democrats they found if they hadn't managed to get out a back door. Here's another. The litter box in the schoolrooms. I first heard that thing a couple years ago. Somebody said, you realize in California schools now, they have to put a litter box in the classroom for kids who believe that they're furries, or they think that they identify as a cat, or they'll say stupid stuff like that, because of course that's just the kind of thing that those stupid woke liberals would do. It's like, first of all, no, nobody's doing that. Second of all, even if they were doing that, then don't you think the litter box would be in the restrooms? Why would they have those kids taking a shit in the corner of the classroom? So right there, it makes no sense. I mean, it makes no sense anyway, but... And the other thing is, every time I've heard it since then, it's always different, I listened to... Dallas Kephart had a telephonic town meeting the one time, and somebody actually said to him, I heard at the Bellefonte school, and Dallas just played along and, humored the person and that, where, he could have, I can understand a politician doesn't want to go, sir, you're an idiot. But he could have said something like, well, I hadn't heard anything about this, and I'm not sure that's true, but my people will look into it. Instead of being like, oh, okay, well, yes, I agree with you totally. This shouldn't be happening, Just one reason, not even the biggest reason, that I don't like Dallas Kephart. Yes, I just went political, but anybody that lives around here. Okay, here's the other one. Not sure I have to get into this too much. Gay people were born that way. They're not doing it to get attention. They're not doing it because that's the cool thing now. It's like I've said before, you really think somebody is going to choose to be thrown out of their family, spit on in public, and have people laugh at them and call them all sorts of names because that's the cool thing to be now. What was this one? No. Biden didn't steal the election. I'm not even going into detail on that. And, oh, 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 along the lines too is 9/11. You don't hear people talk about much anymore, but remember a bunch of them were saying it was a false flag conspiracy because once again, it was a way for the government to get control of us. Now, I do believe that the government took advantage of 9/11 to pass some laws that some people wanted in there for a long time to make it easier to do things like wiretap and whatever, because now they could throw it all on the terrorist. And I remember the first big arrest they made using the Patriot Act, it was called. Don't you like how they always name things the opposite of what they are? You know, the American Truth Party has nothing to do with truth. They'll always do things like that. What is the Freedom Caucus in Congress, the Freedom Caucus. And they're the people that believe that they have the right to tell women what to do with their bodies and what people are allowed to talk about and whatever. But anyway, what the heck was I talking about? I was on the false flag, wasn't I, for 9/11? But yeah, that's what it. Like I said, I believe people took advantage of it the same way as I've noticed they've taken advantage of COVID. I'll be watching a lot of these videos, and a lot of times now, people will go to government offices and courthouses and stuff, and hardly anybody is in those offices. It's like they're wasting a lot of money just turning the lights on and stuff, because they still have everybody working from home, first of all. And the other thing they've done is because they had closed those buildings to, stop the spread of the disease and all that. Now they've made it a lot harder for people to go there. It's like everybody has to sign in and show their driver's license and all this other. It really had nothing to do with the disease, but somehow, because of COVID, they've put all these restrictions on being able to go and see your government. You're supposed to be allowed. First Amendment, folks. Civics quiz for you. And I know when I'll say to you, what's the First Amendment about? There's a couple things you might mention. You might only know one, but it'll be like freedom of speech, or it might be freedom of religion. A lot of us don't think about freedom of press, but that's there also. And the right to assemble. And the other one is the right to address your grievances with the government. Well, they close all the offices down. You can't go address no grievances, can you? Okay, and the last one. Now, this is one that some people might have a little problem with. I do not believe there's any vast Illuminati conspiracy or anything like that of, 12 people from around the world who are deciding everything. I certainly believe that there's rich and powerful people that pull a lot of the strings and all that, but I don't see it being, where they meet in a chamber in a remote castle once a year and decide what they're going to do for that next year, Like, okay, China, you're going to do this, and while they're doing that, Brazil, you do that. Yeah, I don't believe that. Anyway, like always, feel free to disagree with me. Oh, I'll mention one other that I don't believe in, but I won't give you a hard time about, because I think it's harmless. Bigfoot. And I know a lot of you like to believe it. I just feel like we would know by now for sure. We'd have something better than fuzzy pictures, but I'll let you have Bigfoot, okay? As long as you agree that if he decides to go around the world, it's going to go around, that he's not going to be walking on flat land the whole way. But yeah, so I was going to say, like I always, feel free to disagree, put in a comment, tell me that I'm wrong, I'm deluded about the Illuminati or whatever, or, you know, add in your own that you think I forgot to mention. But let me just say this. If you're going to make a public comment, a couple of guidelines, try to keep it clean and be careful what you say, because you know the lizard people are always watching. Peace out.